What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here with the only person, well, multiple people here, but if you're going to work on the Vomit Comet, the FXR, and you're not wearing a cat ear hat, how could I even trust you? Or a Rocco's Modern Life hat. All the naysayers and heretics, you can go ahead and gnash your teeth and curse me all you want. The true believers will be rewarded with the power of the Vomit Comet.
Lazarus bike.
Yeah, what is dead may never die, baby. Well, I mean, this engine's pretty dead, but...
Just like mine.
We're about to find out. Yeah, the show's about to find out exactly how dead it is. Look nasty in there? Yeah, last time we stuck something down in there was a very suspicious hole. Unless these were lightened previously for weight reductions with holes in the top. I think that's maybe not supposed to be there. It cranks over a lot faster, I'll tell you though, with holes in the top. It makes for way easier starting.
It's a custom compression release.
Exactly. Permanent compression release on those pistons.
You dropped the front of the motor down.
Is that FXR specific bullshit?
Kinda.
Sorry.
How dare you have a bike that you like? That's terrible of you.
Dude, every single bike I've ever brought into the ride factory has been a gigantic pain in the ass, without exception. This is why I'm so friendly.
Maybe if I put a smile on, they're not gonna hate me.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly it. You better be a nice. People are like, wow, Josh, you're so nice, and you're always smiling. I was like, yeah, it's because I'm a gigantic pain in the ass.
The thing is, you ask nicely, and that makes it difficult to say no.
Shh. It's a trademark. I want everyone knowing my secrets. Well. Oh my gosh. It's a mystery. Where could they be?
It went out the exhaust, my man.
Is that where they're supposed to go?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I think that this is like more like a speed hole than anything. It's very nice. Thanks for putting these tubes here too, so the piston can get messed up.
Listen, all right, listen. There are certain habits you build.
No, I love it.
It starts from school.
Professionalism at the ride factory. Definitely don't want to mess up that piston on the studs there. I can't believe you didn't put it on the other one, you know?
I put protection there.
So, I mean, you can just put new pistons in and put it back together, right?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, you could. I don't know if it'd run or not, but...
See some wild shit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you got the collapse there from it getting hot and pinging itself to death, and then you got the meltdown here from it gas cutting and obliterating the top ring. But see all the sparklies down inside there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Horsepower glitter?
And then you got more inside there.
Huh. What's that from?
Well, that all started probably right about here.
Oh, I hit the eject button.
Well, it kind of changed its physical property from a solid to a liquid.
All of that.
All that?
All that.
Huh.
Ended up punching all of that right there.
Take a little bit of Scotch-Brite. That should be good as new.
Oh, and this is fun. This
You need that?
is part of your valve retainer.
Well, not all of it broke off, so...
Yeah, so, you know, on the whole, you're doing okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's been worse. I don't know where, but... Damn, dude.
Sproing.
Can you believe it? After the rear cylinder went, I made it, gosh, like another 10 miles on that front cylinder. I mean, actually, looking at it now, you can probably believe it. I was within like 2 miles of Helen, which is where I was headed.
Made it 10 miles. This don't move right.
Huh.
It pretty much went OMG explosion.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is why I'm not a fan of Keith Black pistons. They're not a forged, they're a hyper-protected piston. And for stock or near stock stuff, they're okay-ish, but they don't do high cylinder pressure or detonation very well.
Gotcha.
Clearly.
Like when I first got the bike before, like the rings on it, it had low compression to begin with, the rear cylinder before, but I knew when the bike was running right, somebody had done something to it because it was faster than a stock bike. I don't know if it has a cam in it or what or anything like that, but obviously somebody rebuilt it.
Looking at the domes on those pistons and the chambers and those heads, that motor was probably flirting with 10 to 1.
Well, I mean, I hope to, even if I got, I mean, I'll have to split the cases and get everything send everything to a freaking engine lab and get it all cleaned up. But I'd love to put the motor in a chopper one day. Well, let's see if the old VMAX still starts. Why wouldn't it? Well, the VMAX is definitely a bike I like to ride, but this thing it needs some love, that's for sure. It needs new neck bearings. The front and rear shocks are both blown out. Like it just needs some tender love and care. And normally I might have even started on a project like the VMAX already, but as you guys know, Brapstar Garage no longer exists. And since Brapstar Garage no longer exists, unfortunately the Max is going to be on the back burner for right now. I mean, I paid almost nothing for the bike, so I'm not that worried about it. And I do want a VMAX, and I want a VMAX bad enough that I'm not getting rid of this thing. I paid so little for it. Another deal like that ain't coming up, so I don't feel bad about purchasing it, and I don't mind sitting on it because guess what? Stuff like the VMAX, it ain't going down in price, all right? But the plans I have for this are definitely a lot more extensive than just the TLC that it needs. So we're going to shelf this one for now. We're going to sit on it, but that's okay because I do plan on revisiting this one before too long. Right now, I want to focus on getting the Trail 125 ready and fixing all the things that I need to fix on Old Dirty Bastard, on the Sportster, because me and Shay Lisi want to take some more adventures out there before it starts to snow outside of Florida, you know what I mean? And that seems kind of ridiculous to talk about in August. You know, September, November, they're right around the corner, and all of a sudden, September, October, November, it starts snowing in some really of the mountain passes in Colorado. We really want to do those. And that brings us to what we're doing today. You guys saw the storage unit where I stuck the entirety of Brapstar Garage in literally one day after we got evicted. And we're having to convert our home garage from storing mainly just the motorcycles we ride and lawn equipment into being the place where we can film some videos and work on some bikes that we're getting ready. Which means the projects that I had in storage there, like this VMAX, are getting moved to the storage unit. I mean, hopefully. There's a lot of crap in the storage unit, and we still have to make room for our lawnmowers and chainsaws, so we're gonna have to do some pretty good figuring here, but I think we can do it. And I might be tempted to keep this VMAX at home and ride it around as my everyday bike. The shape that it's in right now, this thing definitely is not an everyday rider. You can ride it, but I wouldn't ride it every day. It's one of the reasons I got such a good deal on the VMAX, and one of the reasons I really don't want to sell it, because the motor's solid as hell. You know, the electrical's amazing. Like, everything, motor, electrical, starter, all that stuff is great. It's just literally everything else. But that's all right, because what I want to do to it, my eventual goals for this project, involve pretty much taking it completely apart anyway. Next up on the list, the faithful, the legendary, the absolutely overcompensating Triumph Rocket 3, baby. Oh, man. Sitting on this bike always just feels like putting on an old shoe. If that shoe was a, 170 horsepower freaking torque monster. Now, here's the issue with the Rocket 3. And it's so wildly annoying. People ask about the Rocket 3 all the time. They're like, why don't you ride it? What happened to it? It's always kind of a weird thing when people ask, well, what happened to this bike? I'm like, what do you mean what happened to it? I still have it. I'm never selling the Rocket 3. Like, you'll take this bike from my cold, dead hands. There are two motorcycles I own that I would never get rid of. It's this Rocket 3 and my Harley FXR. I don't care what kind of state they're in, if they're on fire, blown up, covered in poison. I don't know how that would happen with a motorcycle. Also, blown up also seems rather unlikely, but you know what I mean. Those two bikes I would never sell, ever, ever, ever. Now, what the frustrating thing about the Rocket 3 right now is basically the second gear synchronizers are blown up. So when you shift from first to second, if you don't hold it in there and just ride normally and not accelerate very hard, it just like flies out of second gear and grinds the gears. Like, so you went in that time. So now I'm in second gear. If I tried to accelerate under anything harder than that right there, it would fly out of second gear. It's incredibly frustrating and just really, it just sucks. It makes the bike not as fun to ride. Like, I mean, that's pretty fun, but especially just around town in first and second gear, not exactly a very fun experience. And this bike was made for first and second gear, just like balls to the wall, tire smoking poles. And you can't do my favorite thing to do on it. So, yeah, it's a little frustrating. Now, this is where everybody loves to talk shit about Harleys and how they're like, wow, Harley Davidson motors. They're like, well, this thing still freaking goes, don't it? Harley Davidson motors, and they're like, the transmission is separate and blah, 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 all this crap. I'm like, damn, dude, right about now, I really wish the Rocket 3 had a divorced transmission, because this is a unit motor, and the entire motor has to come out of the vehicle, which is no mean feat. The entire bike has to be disassembled in order to access the transmission. Unlike an FXR or any Harley with a divorced transmission where you just pull the transmission out like you pull it out of a car. Anyway, I actually do have the parts to fix it. I just, like, again, the undertaking into pulling this engine out of the vehicle is not something I'm going to do in my garage right this second. We're focusing on getting the Trail 125 and the Sportster ready for some Great White North adventures before it gets too cold to go up there. But being that I've been riding around a little bit, it was like in my shop, like in the air conditioning, which I really like. I just like kind of looking at it. I mean, I've had this bike for so freaking long, and I worked so hard to get it. I think that's what people don't get. They're like, why don't you just sell it? I'm like, man, do you know how hard I had to bust my ass to get this motorcycle? Dude, I paid, I think it was right around $5,800, almost $6,000 for this bike. And this was in 2008 or 2007. I busted my ass to get this motorcycle. I worked so freaking hard to save up the money to be able to buy this bike. I borrowed money from a friend, and it took me a year paying them back little by little every month, bent over backwards, and made so many sacrifices to own this motorcycle. What am I just gonna sell it just for a few bucks with a blown up transmission? It's not even worth that much money. Like, the bike means so much to me, and I really think that people, when they say some stuff like, why don't you just sell it? It's like, man, you just, I mean, I would like to meet you in person so you could get to know me better, but if you watch the videos all the time and you know what kind of sentimental person I am, and you say something like, why don't you just sell it? I'm like, man, you just have intrinsically failed to understand who I am as a person on such a deep level that I don't even know if you'll ever understand me as a person. Like, the amount I had to work to own this bike and how much I love it, and after the wreck, having to completely rebuild, and all the heartbreak I've been through this bike and the ups and downs through my entire life, like, hell no. I'm never selling this motorcycle. Not a freaking chance. Not ever. And just when someone suggests it, I'm almost, my mind's going like, I'm almost like, how dare you? How dare you suggest that I would take something as fleeting as money, a few $1,000s, for something that means as much to me emotionally as this motorcycle does? No. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk about Triumph Rocket 3s and what they mean to Shade Tree Surgeon. That's a pretty special motorcycle. I mean, it's not that special. It's Triumph Rocket 3, which they're pretty freaking cool, but for me, this is a special bike.
Yeah, you like to see homos naked. That's cool, man. Whatever.
All right, guys. Well, the reason I was taking all those motorcycles to live in the storage unit for right now was because we're getting our home garage ready to film and work on bikes again. Here's the thing. Rapstar Garage may be no more, but really, Rapstar Garage lives on in our hearts, and now in this garage. So I guess Rapstar Garage is in whatever garage that we're currently working in, and now it's our home garage. And I don't care, man. Got that CT 125, the Trail 125 that we got to get ready. That thing's coming up next because we're going to take an adventure on that and the Sportster, and I got to get the Sportster ready too. We got to work on that. We don't have to. We don't have to do any of this stuff. I want to do that stuff. Maybe that's something I should really, a difference I should really talk about. I don't have to do it. Nobody's holding a gun to my head. I want to do that stuff. So we're going to do it, and we're going to film it in this garage. And hey, man, before we had Rapstar Garage and 700 square feet to work in, I worked in a garage half this size. I had a one-car garage that was probably less than half this size, and Before that, it was Rapstar front porch. The very first build series I ever did on this channel, I did on my front porch. So it doesn't matter. We're still gonna work on bikes. We're still gonna build stuff because that's what I like to do and that's what I find really, really fun. And that we've never stopped doing that. I always hate it when people are like, you don't make those videos anymore. Like, bitch, that's all I want to do. I don't always film it, but that's like the main thing I like to do. Anyway, we're gonna work on the Trail 125, get the Sportster ready. Those are the first projects that we're gonna work on in here. And yeah, we're doing it in this garage now because ain't nothing gonna stop me and Shay Lisi from getting this shit done. Ain't nothing gonna stop us from turning wrenches because that's what we like to do. We like to take improbable motorcycles and take them on exciting adventures. And guess what? If we didn't have this garage, I would just do it on the front porch again. And if we didn't have a front porch, I'd do it on my hands and knees in the dirt. Wait, that doesn't sound right. But guess what? That's what I do. Anyway, let's get to work. We are taking a break on Shay Lisi's project because, wow. Because funny enough, me sitting here going like, why would anybody pay actual money for a box, $700? You get one for the same one for a couple $100. Well, that's because we are actually having to fabricate parts and cut stuff apart and drill holes, and you know, we no longer have a drill press or a vise.
Vice is wanting to get on the road.
We're taking a break on this, and it's time for grilled cheese and tomato soup.
I forgot that's what it was for lunch. I'm really excited now.
Yeah, things aren't perfect here, that's for sure. I no longer have my drill press that's in storage, but I do have this block of wood, a C-clamp, and the edge of my desk here that I'm using, or my work table, as I'm sitting here just modifying a couple, or actually creating the prototype. Shay Lisi's outside doing some garden stuff, some lawn stuff, and doing a little figuring on how to get her bike adventure ready. It's a small piece that then she's gonna replicate a few of to keep on mounting this stuff. But I'm getting the boring part out of the way, I guess. And the boring part is the trial and error. Or, I mean, I think it's the exciting part, but for a lot of people, that's the boring part. Now, a lot of people would say that I just got spoiled having a drill press, and I would say that those people were definitely right, but I don't care. I would rather be spoiled. But where there's a will, there's a way. Well, Shay Lisi's Trail 125, old Ed over here is coming together. How everyone was going like, you're adding so much weight. Like, that literally weighs like 2.5 pounds. It really doesn't add anything. Like, all this stuff she put on it probably didn't add 5 pounds to the bike. Anyway, time to get that Trail 125 off of there and something a whole lot uglier on it. That's right. It is the return of old dirty bastard. You know, this thing, I've ridden it a little bit, but this thing, I have not done a single inspection since I got back from the trip. I didn't even clean it, and that's kind of a bummer. This bike needs a little bit of love. And if I'm going to even have a chance of making this reliable enough to keep up with Shay Lisi's Trail 125, I kind of got my work cut out for me. I'm kind of going to go over some things, make a little list of what I need for it. You just check for broken bolts, loose bolts, things of that nature. I think if I do anything, like I said, I'm going to rethink a lot of the way I mounted all my luggage and my gasoline on this thing. So I had originally used these Elite Touring concept mounts, which is really cool. They're really freaking awesome, but I overloaded them, and this aluminum just, I mean, they're not meant to go off-road. They're not meant to deal with the abuse of like 30, 40 pound duffel bag and 2 gallons of gas, and then bouncing up and down on a trail on shocks with 2 inches of suspension travel. So yeah, of course they were starting to bend by the end of the trip. So luckily they didn't break off, but I am just gonna kind of try to recreate that whole setup just out of steel. Aluminum is obviously better because it's so lightweight, but steel bends. Aluminum can bend like a little bit, but it definitely only bends once. And that's all you get. So I think that steel is probably a little bit better choice. I will say that this Elite Touring Concepts, I think that's the name of the company, they're cool dudes, they're out of Canada. This bracket that they make really is genius, that they make to put any tour pack on here, and it does hold up really well. I have a whole Vetter touring pack. This is on my FXR. That's how I keep that up, is with one of these things. It's not surprising, obviously. It holds up really well, but it's not really meant to do like ADV type stuff, which is pretty understandable. I would still say that this is a product I definitely stand by and I've been using for a long time. I'm just definitely not using it here, definitely abusing it. Give you a piece of advice about roto packs. Do not over tighten this. When the gas expands this thing right here, even if there's just some fumes in it, it can make it damn near impossible to get off. I seem to remember a a real man of genius putting this on with red Loctite because he, quote, would never have to remove it. Well, you can see where my brain is headed here. Maybe not that tall. We're not building a Bosuzuku bike here, but you can see what my feeble little brain is thinking here. Let's see if we can make this work. Now, normally I say taking measurements is only for people who think they're going to lose, but this needs some precision. I usually don't take measurements because taking measurements implies the possibility that you might be wrong. Same reason I don't take advice. People are like, why don't you listen to my good advice? I'm just kind of going, man, if I listen to your good advice, there's a chance it might work. And if it works, well then I'll look really stupid, won't I? If there's one thing I miss pretty much more than anything else right now from the actual Brapstar garage, it's a vise. Luckily, that will be coming soon. I just didn't want to drill into my nice table here, so I'm going to create like a little kind of roll around. And you guys remember this from my other home garage. When you're low on space, what you do is you create a drill press vise station that is mobile, so you can push it around and change where it is. And I probably shouldn't have taken apart the one that I had built earlier, because now I'm going to have to build another one. Well, here we go, baby. I'm a wanted man. Here we go, baby. I'm a wanted man. What? Damn it, it's supposed to turn on after I say that. Here we go, baby. I'm a wanted man. Yes, perfectly straight, just like if it was perfectly straight, you guys might start to worry about me. Alright, well, let's go see what that looks like in here. Definitely not tall enough. I don't know why I thought that was going to work. It's like, ooh. Oh, they go all the way up the bottom. I see. I see. Oh, I'm definitely going to have to be careful here. I've got this piece of angle that I'm going to use as the base. I'm going to make it longer this way too, but the base on which I'm going to reuse this thing to mount my Pelican Apache knockoff over there. So I want this to sit straight, obviously, and I'm going to do probably a little helper right there because I do actually want to be able to load it up. So I want this to sit straight, but obviously the sissy bar is at an angle. So this made up for it before my bend by having that angle in there. Now, since those guys actually know what they're doing and probably used CAD design and are actual engineers, I'm just going to go ahead and have to wing mine and cut this at some kind of angle right here so this, when I weld this on top of these things, it sits straight. I'm finding out that just using a drill by hand, it's actually, I can press so much harder than a drill press and keep the speed so much slower than my drill press could go. Man, it really wears you out. Alright, let's see if this works. The other cool thing about building this yourself is, as I always say, and I'm not a very smart man, but I do know the importance of good hardware. That looks like it's going to work out. Alright. Cool. See if we can make another one that's that even. Whew. And my hands are burning from holding that down. My whole shade tree is getting soft. Did I get as lucky the second time around? One's easy. It's the second one that's hard. Hell yeah. Got him, baby. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt these in for right now because this basically is going to kind of act as a jig for me when I'm welding this into place. Definitely do better with a smaller level, but this is the level I have available to me. So here at Brapstar Home, we make do with what we have. I wouldn't say that's exactly very scientific here. cutting part while we're actually on the bike is round. You know, it's probably not going to be. I don't know why I'm going to bother with this, but let's see if it's actually level, or how level I am here. I'm probably going to regret doing this. Not bad. It's almost. A little cockamamie. Let's see how we do this way. A little cockamamie. All right, some more exact measurementation over here. Let's let that cool off and drink a beer. No, I don't know how to weld, but yes, I do own a welder and I am pretty reckless, so let's rock and roll. You know, it's times like this when I really just agree with what everybody says. I really could use some adult supervision. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just putting a couple little tacks on here and a very scientific spacer to provide exact measurements so it's straight. You know? I mean, that reads level, so I don't want to hear it, alright? Alright, let's get out my brush and finish welding it. Horny Easy Weld over here that I have, my little Easy Bake Oven. My Easy Bake Oven welder is pretty messy. I'm using flux core, it's messy, and like I don't even have a little tip on it because I suck. It makes a huge mess, and pretty much after every couple of welds you put on it, like 3.5 seconds of weld, you gotta clean it up or else it ain't gonna stick. But hey, it was cheap. That is ugly. But it is one piece of metal now, that's for sure. Well, like the old saying goes, a grinder and some paint make me the welder I am. Even these snot rockets I've got all over this thing, they aren't gonna look good with a grinder and paint anyway, so I'll clean it out a little bit just to say I did and call it a day. Alright, baby. I actually think that Apache looks pretty damn good on there. I think it looks slick. What doesn't look good is all that splatter right there, but we'll go ahead and grind that down and cover it up with paint a little bit later. For now, let's actually get this sucker attached. Holy mackerel. This thing mean business. Does that look straight to you guys? Straighten up for 2022, I guess. Believe it or not, I am kind of trying to do this the right way. I mean, I'm not trying that hard, but I am going to go ahead and lay a little bead of silicone around these washers here. All right. Well, this is pretty much how I imagined it set up with my goose here on top of the Apache case. And I'm a little worried about how tall this is because having just like this big tall pack back here in the rear when you're off-road is not the best, but even though this looks huge, it's not that heavy. And I'm not planning on putting a whole bunch of like super heavy stuff in the Apache either. Well, I'm gonna try to keep stuff off the sides and just keep a duffel right here for both back support and to keep stuff in, but we'll see. But anyway, I do still want to put a little bit more support on this. I mean, it's pretty freaking stout, but something from here to here just to go ahead and support that. It's a lot easier than steel, isn't it? a simple solution here, I think. We're good to go, baby. That sucker on there, now this thing is really freaking solid. Headed out with Shay Lisi on the maiden voyage of her Adventurize Trail 125. How adventurous are you feeling on a scale of 1 to Teddy Roosevelt?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt, I knew it, baby. All right, let me tell you, here's the cool thing about this top box where everyone's like, just put this other thing on it. Well, this is cool because, man, I'm taking the Ducati, which has bags, but having one that you can just do one latch open and then stick your camera in, that's pretty convenient. And then take your camera back out because that's how editing works. One of the most awesome parts about this bike is I don't have to help Shay Lisi pack it up. And that's not me talking crap about Shay Lisi, by the way. That's just physics at some point, you know?
I don't have to do anything, just so you know.
That is true. You know, the idea that you have to go to work and pay taxes and be a good little boy every day, that is all just a clever ruse. We don't actually have to do anything. The only thing you have to do is be prepared to accept the consequences of not doing anything. And even then, you don't have to accept consequences to deal with them. Sometimes you just have the consequences and you never accept them. You just go and you just bitch about it the whole time. I'm good at that. Hey. Yeah, this isn't any kind of reliable, boring old Honda. This is danger, uncertainty, the very essence of adventure. What do you give old Shay Lisi's odds at taking that little Trail 125 off-road? I don't know, with me helping her, yeah, but it probably hurts, actually. I would say that being her mentor on building an ADV bike is probably not helping, but, you know, I turned that Sportster into an ADV bike, and even though it had to leave it in town for a few days, I did successfully complete an adventure on it. Technically, on home-built adventure bikes, completing an adventure, I am 1 for 1, baby. Whenever I win, there's always a few technicalities. I know a lot of people were worried about how much weight that stuff was going to add, but that top box, it weighs like 5 freaking pounds. Also, Shay Lisi weighs about 98 pounds. So compared to your average rider, she's got a lot of wiggle room with how much stuff she can add to that Trail 125 before it even brings her up to the weight of the average person who would be riding the bike. So y'all can get a step off with that adding weight stuff. She's going to be fine. We'll also tell you that rear rack right there, because everyone's like, oh, it's going to be too heavy in the back and make the front end light. The rear rack on that motorcycle, on the Trail 125, has a higher load capacity on that rear rack than literally any other motorcycle ever made. The rack is there for a reason, I promise you. It's meant to load it down. Now, I'm not saying you should put 400 pounds on it, but you know, you can put a passenger on it. If you put a passenger on that bike, it's not gonna imbalance it so much that the front end is just gonna be doing wheelies the whole time, and I don't think she's gonna be putting even anywhere close to 100 pounds worth of stuff on it. Although I obviously appreciate everyone's concern, like when people say stuff, I appreciate it. I'd rather you say something than not, because I read through all the comments for a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons is I appreciate everybody who watches the video, and if you watch the video and you take time to comment, I might as well make time to read it. It's only fair. But I also read through the comments because I don't really always know what I'm doing. Like I'm guessing just as much as a lot of the people watching these videos, so I will find stuff in there that I didn't think of. I have been helped out by people in the comment sections more time than I can count. When everyone's saying like, oh my gosh, you're gonna overload it, it's gonna be too much stuff in the back. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate you saying something. I'm not saying don't say anything. I'm just explaining myself. The bike's gonna, you can put 60 pounds worth of crap on the back of that bike and it's gonna be just fine.
Remember when I tried to go to the shady spot of the parking lot and I dropped my bike?
Yeah, that was funny. I was hoping it would happen again.
From my adventure to the art store.
Your adventure to Starbucks. The art store just happened to be here. It is a ritual every young ADV enthusiast must go through. That long, arduous journey with all your luggage all the way to Starbucks. I don't think you could have more different ADV bikes besides a Ducati Multistrada and a Trail 125. Neither of which are really adventure bikes. I mean, the Trail 125 at least has got trail in the name, and the Multistrada, not exactly what I would call an off-road champion. champion, okay? Of course, when we finally do hit the road, I'll be taking something with a lot less horsepower. I'll be on the Adventure Sportster while Shay Lisi's on the Trail 125. The Ducati's always just been my daily driver, the grocery getter, baby, the dad bagger. Whoa, take it easy, buddy. Man, the Crown Vic has got to go kayaking somewhere real quick. I don't know. I know this is like the adventure shop for people with way too much money, but I've never been inside one, so I want to check it out. So I love these Florida stickers that make the Hillsborough River look really nice and not completely full of pollution and garbage and diesel fumes. And at least they got the color right, because they do turn it green every year for St. Patrick's Day. I love it, dude. $100 blankets. Ooh, the pump sack. Oh, I don't know about that one. Sounds like a medical condition.
I actually did put compression sacks on my wish list.
Yeah, compression sack. That sounds like what happened, and then you get a nasty case of pump sack.
These are the ones that have been returned that are cheaper.
Previously slept in, farted in, maybe a few other things, baby. Slip inside my sleeping bag. Look at this. I love this tent that isn't full of sand and sand spurs inside. It makes it look really fun to camp. Everything looks so clean. If only we could camp inside the REI store. Camp inside the REI store, only $450 a night. That is exactly for sitting on the ground. What, I look like an animal? No, I need a real seat. You're already pretty close to the ground. It's easier for you. Yeah, Amanda sent me one of these. Amanda Zitto. Dude, this Yeti. Yo, that's a coffee cup. Y'all need to calm down. What makes that different from a regular serving bowl that's made out of metal that you buy for $1? It's not any smaller. Shay found something she needed. It's not for camping though. All right, REI, y'all need to take it easy. That is underwear. I'll tell you guys right now, if I'm gonna pay $48 for underwear, it better be on someone else and be giving me a boner. Dude, the last song in there, Rockabye Baby. Look it up at your own risk. I'm like, what the hell is playing over these speakers? It seems like the kind of song like that is a joke making fun of other songs. And it made me so angry that I was yelling about it, and the REI employees were looking at me with concern. I made Shay Lisi not even buy her propane. I said, we gotta leave now, because if I let the end of this song play, if I listen to the end, the song wins. All right, let's see how the little Trail 125 does on the interstate. I think it goes like 50 with me on it. Oh, there's a lot of traffic, and Shay Lisi, I'm pretty sure can get that thing up to like 60 miles an hour. Well, I don't know if the Trail 125 can do interstate speeds, but it can certainly do rush hour speeds. Probably the most dangerous thing about having that little Trail 125 on the highway is it'll go 55, probably over 60 miles an hour with Shay Lisi on it. Problem is once you're going that fast, that's all you've got. So if you need to go any faster than 55, 60 miles an hour in a hurry just to get yourself out of a situation, let me tell you what, baby, you are up Sheep Creek with a turd for a paddle, because you ain't got nothing left. So even if you can go 65 miles an hour, the ability to easily then also go 75 miles an hour to get yourself out of trouble is really kind of important on the interstate. But being topped out at 65, not exactly the best place to be. 60 mile an hour? See, I knew it'd do 60 with her on it. And with the stuff on it too, and a bunch of cans of spray paint in the back. Okay, I was definitely burning the midnight oil last time I was building that rack, so I really didn't end that video. But I want to end the video by fixing the massive primary oil leak, if I can anyway, because I want to ride this motorcycle tomorrow. Just like kind of messing around with it, getting that top box on there, and just being around the Sportster again. I just go, man, you know what I want to do? I want to ride this bike. Theoretically, this should be really easy. But me and theoretically easy, we don't always get along. Which is upsetting to me. I'm always just like, come on, theoretically easy. I just want to be friends. I never like to pull these off. I hate the way these things are mounted, by the way. I just think it's a really bad design. The bolts that hold the primary on also hold your entire weight on the foot peg on. It just doesn't seem great to me, but I don't know, man. Hopefully I'm not gonna leak a ton of primary fluid out of here, because there's almost nothing in here. Oh, no, I need that. God fucking damn it. Well, I didn't think the primary was coming off. Maybe I can get it with my thing longer. It's doubtful, but maybe. There's a lot of people watching right now. Some are going, you freaking idiot. I can't believe you just did that. Shelby's probably one of those you idiot guys. And there's probably some other people who are just going like, yep, I've done that before. And maybe Shelby's done it too, but Shelby probably hasn't done it for a very long time. Oh, god damn it. Am I really going to have to take this primary off? Maybe this little piece right here. If I lose this piece of magnet in there, then it definitely has to come apart. Because if I can't get this piece of magnet out, then it's definitely going to be stuck to the clutch basket and doing some very bad things. Guess who doesn't have to take off the primary? Thanks, Finglonger. My victory cry on Into the Night. Hey, yeah. I know previously people have told me not to take it off like this, but unfortunately, I don't have a pair of snap ring pliers to take it off the clutch handle itself to just screw it out the proper way. All right, let's try not to drop this one. this time. The fucking, that was just one of the dumbest things I've ever done. I mean, I don't know. I've done dumber, that's for sure. I went to leave the Sportster overnight to see if I had fixed the leak, and it looks like I didn't. Well, I mean, I fixed the bad leak, but I think it's still leaking from the actual primary. But it's nowhere near like it was leaking primary all the way before. Like, that spot right there is a marked improvement to what it was doing earlier. Gotta tell you guys, I just really, really like this motorcycle. And it starts right up, baby. Why wouldn't it? Man, it feels good to be back on the Dirtster. Old dirty bastard rides again, baby. I'm actually heading up to the Dirty Shame right now. We're gonna go out to Bert's Barracuda. They got an OCC bike show. Weems has entered his bike out there. F&A Customs is gonna be there. I just knew I wanted to ride this bike, man. You know, you can only look at something for so long, just like the FXR. I'm so excited about having that back. And I had to take it to the Ride Factory because basically, Shelby came up to me and said, there is no way I'm letting this FXR sit one more minute. We're taking it and we're putting the engine in it. And to be honest with you, doing that job was probably a little over my skill level, so I want to make sure it's done right. So I didn't find him that hard.
Can't help you at this time, bro. No, what I told you, I don't want nobody out in my parking lot. You want to buy something, you buy it, keep it moving. That's what I told you. I ain't told you nothing about beer, bro.
Never a dull moment at the stab and grab. This thing is going to work out great. Well, my welds all hold anyway. As I was saying, having Shelby be in charge of putting the Vomit Comet back together with me on the sidelines is probably a way better move. You know, especially when you're talking about a vehicle that's going to be making an upwards of, 135, 140 horsepower. Yeah, I probably want Shelby putting that together. I might be reckless, but I don't have a death wish. Rapstar Garage, we hold you in our hearts. When we think about you, it makes us want to fart. Yes, living on in our hearts and living on at our home. Anyway, that's gonna about do it for this one. We still got a lot of exciting projects on the future. Bums me out to have to table a couple of the other ones, but let's be honest, they were kind of tabled to begin with. I can really only focus on one thing at a time, but thankfully, with Shelby's help, I can focus on getting this ready, getting Shaylee's Trail 125 ready, and the return of Vomit Comet coming soon with that 124 cubic inch power plant, baby. That's going to be something else. Time to meet up with the boys behind the Dirty Shame and head out to support Jared Weems. That's going to about do it for this one, y'all. Till next time. Hey, oh, wait, not till next time. Don't forget, Rapstar Weirdo Forgotten Angels Camp Out coming October, well, the Halloween weekend. Whatever weekend Halloween weekend is, that's the weekend it is. I'll have the dates down below. I'd love to see you guys out there if you're able to make it. It'd be absolutely freaking amazing. And by the way, if you guys know our mission with Forgotten Angels and helping young men who've aged out of foster care, you know that it is a noble mission. We're helping out the people that society has pretty much just left behind. And I know that a lot of you guys watching this right now probably got left behind and managed to claw your way back up out of that. Well, we're trying to prevent a few of those kids from falling through the cracks, because when you got to claw your way out of the bullshit, when you got to claw your way out of the trenches, not everybody makes it. And that's who we're looking out for here. Anyway, we're giving away a Humvee and a couple of other things. And by the way, there's an exclusive Brapsar design. You meet the worst people on the Honda. That t-shirt will be available with every purchase of 5 tickets, which is $100. You get a 5 for 100 instead of 1 for 25 when you do that one. Dang, look at all the folks here. All right, time to party. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.